Bam. That's Bricks and Minifigs. You just got bammed. I won't buy any Legos at Bricks and Minifigs ever again. I mean, I have this Playboy dollhouse. Or no, I'm joking. I don't play with Legos. I don't know that I could handle a fucking job where all I dealt with is, little figurines and minifigs. And I got my Star Trek minifigs and my Star Wars minifigs. I want my Star Wars minifigs back. Can I get my figs back? And this is why I'm glad. Not glad he got charged, but I'm glad he documented everything because it's pretty darn clear that none of this fits any kind of crime. He's maybe harassing them, maybe, but I mean, to harass somebody, you have to affect their safety, security, or privacy, and they haven't done that here. That's the other thing. If the cops aren't interested, they will not return your fucking phone call because what are they going to do? Lose business? I mean, they're not in the business of pleasing customers. I think a judge would throw this out when he sees the actual evidence. But you've got so many antics, so much other clouding, what you're really there for, right? And that's what's causing him so much consternation.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And it's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your board-certified criminal defense lawyer, coming to you with my 24-karat gold shark cufflinks, which means I'm doing business. We're doing business here because I'm board-certified. I'm certified as a board. I'm just bored. Bored in the house. House in the board. Bored in the house.
Okay, I'm bored in the house and I'm in the house bored. Bored in the house and I'm in the house bored.
Now, we are reacting to Gentle Ben, or Reckless Ben. There's some updates on his case. We're going to kind of go into a little bit about what I'll give you a little background in case you need to be caught up. And then we'll watch this video. It'll be a cold reaction because I haven't seen the Saga yet. So, and he's been charged with some crimes. There's civil lawsuits going here and there. And so we'll kind of dive into this and I'll explain what it means and how ridiculous this whole thing is and how it should have just been resolved with them saying, oh, we have your Lego set. You can have it back or we'll sell it for you. And here's the money. I mean, that's really what should have happened here. Anyway, before we get to that, this is brought to you by AskALawyer.com. AskALawyer.com for $49 is a very effective way for you to get some legal advice and for you to take advantage of a AI component trained in all of 50 states. So you take that tool, mix it with a real live lawyer, you've got a powerful set of tools to legally defend yourself or go after somebody if that, damn landlord won't give you your deposit back. Or, for example, if your mother's and grandmother's in your basement and, sitting there with her friends and trying to plot against you, could happen. Anyway, AskALawyer.com. I've had a couple people, actually a bunch of people, one was an elder law case, one person tried to get some property back, and they used AskALawyer.com. They were really happy with their services. So AskALawyer.com for $49, you can't beat it. Same people that brought you e-form and e-sign, so AskALawyer.com. All right, so Benjamin Schneider, known as Gentle Ben, or Reckless Ben, sorry, joined national news. Okay, so here's what happened. This is a situation where Ben got involved with a guy trying to bring his dad's Lego set, and that's kind of weird in and of itself. Dad's got an amazing Star Wars collection of Legos and brings it to Bricks and Minifigs to sell. Ownership changed hands of Bricks and Minifigs. They say, well, that's the contract's not with us. And so they don't give the money and they don't give the thing back. So they got this amazing collection. And so and if you watch one of our past videos, we kind of go through, and Ben goes through it too, the whole saga. And he goes through a lot of kind of crazy antics. Well, he was brought into federal court. He was brought into state court. He was brought into, put a gag order on him. And so let's kind of give you a little bit of what's going on. So this is a quote from Gentle Ben. I'm happy to have my freedom of speech back, said Schneider, mockingly, wearing a suit plastered with the faces of Bricks and Minifigs CEO Amon McNeff. I'm allowed to put his face on this shirt. I'm allowed to do that now. And so evidently Bricks and Minifigs has been on all kinds of podcasts and TV shows and stuff saying whatever, while Gentle Ben Reckless Ben is supposed to just keep it quiet. Schneider was served a gag order in early June after the Lego resale chain sued him for defamation. While he had to remain silent about the ordeal, he said it didn't stop Bricks and Minifigs from speaking out against him. Bricks and Minifigs would just go on all these news stations where the CEO would and just start spouting all these crazy lies about us. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't say what the truth was, or else I would go to jail. So it's pretty an insane thing. So this is no longer just small claims court. The defamation lawsuit is currently in mediation, which ain't going to go anywhere. But according to Schneider, the company hasn't backed down from this demand of $1.3 million. Here's the thing. When you sue somebody as part of any lawsuit, you're ordered to do ADR. It's called Alternative Dispute Resolution. And mediation is one of those things. And what is mediation? I sit in a room, you sit in a room. And then you have a mediator that goes in between the rooms. And the mediator comes to me and says, well, you're kind of fucked here, and here's why. And then they go to the other room and they say, you're kind of fucked over here, and here's why. So they try to get each party to see their weaknesses of the case. They don't really expand on the strengths of your case too much, unless you've got a really good case. But they try to get both sides to compromise and come to the middle. And so if everybody's unhappy, the mediator did his job. Our lawyers are saying it could easily go over $10 million per person, and there are 16 defendants. That ain't gonna happen. Schneider said he had to hire 5 attorneys in the last 2 weeks to cover all the charges. That seems weird. Bricks and Minifigs has against him. He said he originally planned to represent himself because he didn't have any money, but the outpouring of supportive fans has allowed him to get legal representation that he needs. It's also why Schneider thinks that his co-defendants will come out on top in the end. So you got that's probably because you've got all these other co-defendants. That's probably why they need all this. So let's take a look at this video and then we'll react to that. Okay.
I'm about to go to court and I don't even know what I did wrong. Yeah, Bricks and Minifigs is making up tons of...
Okay, let's just start there. I don't even know what I did wrong.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass on, bro.
There's ways of going about things. And he's brought this shit on himself. If he would have filed a replevin action at the very outset, you got to have the guy who owned the property to begin with assign his rights to you, because if you really want to do this, then you file a replevin action to get the stuff back. Then you start arguing about the merits, because when I say the merits, I mean the legal reasoning behind the argument. You've got a situation where these guys took over the store. When you take over a business, you take on the prior commitments from that business. And if you remember in the prior video, the woman who owned the business before told them this is on consignment.
In the security cam footage, it's him at the store kicking her out. In that footage they sent us is Crystal asking him, how am I supposed to pay this guy? These are sets he has not been paid for.
These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours. He's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment.
So they don't just get to fucking keep it. I mean, that's called unjust enrichment. The bad part for Uncle Ben or Gentle Ben or Reckless Ben, that would take all this content away. If I would have been the lawyer at the very beginning, you would have had that shit back in fucking 2 weeks. Maybe not quite that fast, but you would have had it back by now. And you wouldn't have all this exposure. But when he says, I don't even know why I'm in court, look at all the shit you've done to Bricks and Minifigs.
tons of lies about me to the police to try to get me thrown in jail so I can't release my documentary about them. But the crazy part is I'm not even allowed to know what they're saying I did. Legally, I'm not allowed to film inside court, so I formally requested the audio, but since there was no visual, I hired an animator to animate over it. Right now, I kind of don't even know what I'm being charged for because all of the body cam footage has been redacted, and they say it's to protect the victims. However,
so when you go to court, the first thing you do, the very first thing, you have your initial appearance. At your initial appearance, the very first thing they do is read you the charges. You get a document showing, it's usually a complaint, or sometimes it's an indictment, but you get a complaint or a charging document that shows what the fucking charges are. And then the judge says, have you received a copy of the complaint? Yes, Your Honor. Would you like it read to you in open court, or would you waive the reading? Generally, you waive the reading because you know what you're being charged with. So this strikes me incredibly odd.
However, I think there are some redactions that maybe don't make sense and that weren't to protect the victims, and there's some things being said about me that are redacted that I don't know about.
I do have some concern in this case with the defendant representing himself. The allegations here relate to the fact that the defendant, he's a person he's a YouTuber, creates videos, publishes them online, and has been, if this defendant were to represent himself and we were to provide body cams and discovery.
You can't withhold discovery just because you think they're going to disclose it. You can ask for a protective order. Your Honor, I want a protective order, that he can't disclose this to anybody but himself or his legal team. That's it. And he can't put it online. The judge would sign an order to that effect. But you can't withhold discovery. You want to withhold discovery? Dismiss the fucking case.
In discovery, we would be now providing additional information.
Look at how ugly he makes the prosecutor here.
and fodder for this defendant to create videos from which he could profit by placing them on YouTube at the expense of our victim. I have serious concerns for that.
Yeah, the state of Utah is claiming that if they tell me what I'm being accused of, then I'll use it for content on my YouTube channel. And they can't have that. They're arguing to the judge that the best thing to do is to not let me know what's being said about me, which is very strange, but that's their argument.
So I just handled a murder case, and there were 4 witnesses. They wouldn't tell us their names. They gave us the reports, but it's all these black lines. They're all black lined out because they said they filed what they call a prosecutor certificate, and that it was too dangerous to give us that information. Okay, well, they don't call them as witnesses. If it's too dangerous, otherwise, there's a Sixth Amendment right to face your accuser. So put up or shut up. And that trumps any privacy rights that the victims have.
And just in case you haven't been following along with this whole Lego story, this is all happening because I stepped in to help a family who got their Lego collection stolen from a company called Bricks and Minifigs.
Yes, and if you would have filed a replevin action right away, you would have gotten them back. But you went through all this stuff and you obfuscated everything from the beginning. Anybody out there want to know what to do before you go down a road like this? Let me know. I did have one guy come in, and I can't remember his name, but we took a picture of us with guns. I think it's on Instagram. They went around with these people stealing stuff, and they were filming these guys. I'm like, what are you doing? You're aiding and abetting them, by tipping them off, by doing this, by doing that. And he's like, oh shit, okay. And he followed my advice, and guess what? He's not in jail.
And for the last couple months, this company's been doing whatever they can to get me arrested so they can keep all the Legos for themselves. And this isn't even just me speculating. One of their own employees literally told us what their plan was.
I got a call from my boss, and it was like, how do we get them arrested? How do we get them arrested?
But eventually, Bricks and Minifigs found out that I'm not just some random kid. I'm actually a YouTuber making a documentary on the entire scandal.
So the YouTube guy is named Reckless Ben. I don't want to be on YouTube.
Yeah, this is when things really started getting crazy. Bricks and Minifigs went into ultimate defense mode and was going to do whatever it takes to prevent this documentary from coming out. First, the police got a call saying I had heroin on me.
This officer is going to conduct the search of your person because there are legal substances in the vehicle.
And obviously, they found nothing. But then they got a call saying that I was the one that stole the Legos. And I got swatted by the entire police department.
Included in the warrant are Legos.
So this is stuff that you all brought on yourself, in all honesty. And why did you do it? You wanted to be outrageous for clicks, for likes. What do you think I do? Why do you think I swear so much? Why do you think I have these Nerf guns on my desk, you know?
We all got arrested, but right when I got out of jail, I got a warrant for my arrest for some mystery crime that I committed.
It seems like this guy might live in LA, or his last known address is in LA.
Yeah, the police showed up to my house all the way in Los Angeles to arrest me without bail.
He was like, just tell him he has a warrant for his arrest.
But the police couldn't arrest me.
Any idea where he actually is?
No idea.
Okay.
I was somewhere very far away. But anyways, back to court.
He wasn't in Mexico, by the way.
The judge is looking at signing a protective order to protect Josh and all of his statements about me. If this protective order gets signed, then I'll never be able to find out what he's claiming I did.
I got bad news.
And that's not true. You know, the protective order just says you can't disseminate the information.
I don't think we have any more budget for animation, dude.
Oh, shoot. So how do we animate this next court scene? I guess if we have to not pay the lawyers, then I guess the animation's more important, right?
Yeah. What does that tell you? YouTube is more important than your own fucking freedom. You know, there's a point at which, if you're doing this kind of work, you're putting yourself at risk. You see that Gideon got arrested at a McDonald's? You know, I don't know if you know who Gideon is, but he's to catch these predators. And now he says, well, I'm going to back off from doing blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, I mean, these people are, you know, he was trespassed in that case. And then he had kids going in, you know? It's just like, think.
Yeah, we decided maybe the lawyers are actually more important. So, yeah, we ran out of animation budget. Sorry, guys.
Show me the money.
The court's inclined to sign this pretrial protective order unless you have an objection to it, Mr. Schneider, and the objection to such an order.
Yes, I think there's a bunch of misunderstandings in this case. And so this person doesn't want to get exposed. So he's making up a lot of lies about me to order to like get me arrested before he gets exposed.
So the judge at this point should say, I'm putting a gag order on both parties. So you as the victim cannot talk about this. You as the defendant cannot talk about this. And you as the prosecutor cannot disclose any more than you already have.
So that's what this whole thing's about.
However, before I was allowed to show any of the overwhelming evidence I have to support my claims, the judge didn't care about the evidence and signed the protective order anyways.
Mr. Schneider, the court's going to sign this order and serve it upon you.
And that's a normal thing. I've had it usually in like gang cases or murder cases where there's a snitch or, you know, or child sex cases. And they do it so that to protect those involved. And this is common.
All of these mystery crimes against me that I have no clue what they're even saying I did. So this whole mess is happening in American Fork, Utah. But I'm also being charged with another case in Provo, Utah. This is where corporate Bricks and Minifigs is, which is why I'm also being charged here. And this police department has surprisingly actually followed the law when it comes to discovery, and they sent me all the raw body cam footage of what I'm being charged for. Let's start at the beginning, the moment I first met the CEO.
And now he's broadcasting the footage. I had a client not that long ago put online a transcript of the statement of a juvenile, and I put it on Facebook. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't tell people.
The reason I'm talking to him right now is because before exposing this company for the grand theft they committed, I thought it was in good faith to give them an opportunity to do the right thing first before I make a documentary about this.
You had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your store?
Nope. Never happened.
But the CEO did not want to take the opportunity to do the right thing and instead instantly called the cops on us.
Hi there, I'm calling to report a crime.
They themselves say, hey, you guys stole this product from this person. If you don't give it back, I'm going to burn the place down. Or we're going to burn the place down. Or I'll kill you. It's Ben Snyder who's been the one engaged in this behavior.
You can see in the police report that the crime he wanted to get us charged for is called extortion, which basically means we're threatening him into paying us, which is very illegal. However, obviously he's just making all of this up. The reality is, I just thought it was a nice gesture to give him the opportunity to do the right thing first.
If you guys do have our Legos, we just kind of want them back, you know?
But if there's one thing I've learned from this entire experience, it's that whoever ends up doing the morally right thing just ends up getting screwed over.
Okay. Do I need to say it again? You would have had these back in a month or 2 weeks if you would have just filed a replevant action and say, give us them back. They were given, because he had a receipt, you know, he had record that he gave them to the prior owner and that the ownership shifted, the burden, you know, and all the obligations from the prior business shift to the new business. In fact, I think one of the owners even said that in a prior video.
Now it's time to play the way Bricks and Minifigs is playing and use their own strategy against them.
All right.
Right now, their strategy is to get me arrested before I get them arrested. So now I'm gonna Uno reverse this and get Eamon, the CEO, arrested before he gets me arrested.
So I have this kind of thing happen all the time where the clients say, well, we're gonna go after them, you know? And what's the real mission here? The real mission isn't try to get somebody arrested. The real mission is to try to get the Legos back. This is where he goes wrong.
But if I'm going to be the reason that someone's going to jail, I should probably make sure that they definitely deserve this. So I'm going to give them one more chance to try to do the right thing first.
And if you've been trespassed, this gives them fodder to fuck with you even more.
But instead of doing the right thing and attempting to work this out, Eamon just hid in his little office. And he called the police on me.
I can already tell you right now, no one's coming out to talk to you guys. Like
Really? But they told us that they were.
I know.
Normally I wouldn't want to get someone arrested, but we gave him every opportunity to talk to us, so at this point, he's just arresting himself. However, the only difference between my strategy and Bricks and Minifigs' strategy is I don't have to lie to the police. Eamon McNeff actually committed a crime. I have tons of crimes on camera that Eamon McNeff has committed.
So one of the things that they did is they said that they were going to kill them, or, you know, made threats of violence, basically. Everything this guy does, everything is on camera. There's nothing, he doesn't take a shit when it's not on camera, you know? So of course it's going to be on camera.
Let's start at the beginning with crime number 1.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No. So who's
Brian Mansell.
Okay, and who is that?
He's a guy who had he had like $200,000 worth of Legos in your guys' store.
Never happened.
Eamon was first trying to claim that he's never even heard of Brian Mansell, and this guy definitely never had any Legos in a Bricks and Minifigs store. But once we showed him all of the social media posts his own company made, it was very obvious that we just caught him in a lie. So the CEO decided to change his story, and now the story is the Legos used to be in the store, but the previous owner, Crystal, she stole the Legos right before they took over the store.
So that's valuable information. So what do? Take a deposition. And you've got the video of her telling them these are on consignment. So you catch somebody in a lie like this. And here's the other thing about theft, you know, willful theft like this. You could probably get punitive damages, you know, like 3 times as much at least.
We don't have the Lego. Crystal sold the Lego.
The only problem is their security camera footage of the previous owner getting kicked out.
These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours. He's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment liability.
Corporate just said that they're going to be the ones to take over the consignment deal with all the Legos that are still in the store.
And that is the fact. You buy a business, you own the prior, unless you get some indemnification, you know, saying you are going to be responsible for this. as a prior owner, not us. And so they've got this great footage. So why? I don't get the strategy here. Just baffles me. Baffles.
In his extra proof that these Lego sets were still in the store, the owner went into the back and started taking pictures of everything that you can verify in the metadata with the timestamps that match the exact moment she's getting kicked out. And then you can see her leave the store with nothing in her hands, proving that the sets were still in the store and the CEO is lying to us right now. But that's only one side of the story. I also thought it was fair to hear his side. She sent a bunch of pictures of the Lego still in the back, and you can see in the security camera footage, corporate comes and throws her out.
Great. I understand what you're talking about, but you have a misunderstanding of what has occurred, and you're taking one person's word over another person's word. You need to go after the party that's responsible, and you don't want to because that's not easy. You have accepted a narrative that is not real, and you are continuing to pursue that narrative because it's easy, and it gives you views, and it gives you all sorts of clout, and does all sorts of things that way.
And it gets under my skin. Come on, stop already.
So basically what the CEO is trying to explain to me is we shouldn't be looking at the evidence. Instead, I should just be taking his word for it because he said so.
Crystal Law was a former franchisee of Bricks and Minifigs.
Yeah.
She took Mr. Mansell's Lego, sold it, didn't pay him, she has his money. But she sold his Lego, she has his money.
To make it easier for you guys to understand the CEO's argument, we're going to demonstrate his argument with a little skit.
Oh, that wasn't a backflip. No.
Oh, are you sure?
You have a misunderstanding of what happened.
Yes, this is the exact argument the CEO is trying to make. Something we just saw in video, the CEO is saying never happened, which would mean the CEO's lying. And most people would agree that lying is morally wrong. However, if you lie about a crime, the way Eamon's lying to me right now, then that's not just morally wrong anymore. That crosses into new territory called illegal. The specific crime is called obstruction. If someone commits...
Actually, I think it's fraud. I really think it's more like fraud and theft.
This crime, they can get arrested.
And obstruction, who gives a shit about obstruction? Obstruction of justice is like a petty little who gives a shit crime. The theft of 200 grand, how much do you think that's worth? That's worth probably 5 to 7 years in big house. So obstruction is nothing.
We're at the police station and
let's just take it one step further. Go to the district attorney's office. Try to set up a meeting with them and go through with your evidence that you have. If you showed them this stuff, I think they would be much, and before you went through before you put the sign on the building, before you did all this other crap that really obfuscated everything, I think you would have had a much better result in getting these guys charged with theft, because that's really what it is. But I digress.
We're going to charge them with a criminal crime, obstructing of evidence of a $200,000 theft. And good news for us, we found out last week that all of the police in Utah take obstruction very seriously here. The police arrested my friend Sheldon for obstruction just for locking his phone.
Right now you're attempting to destroy evidence. Okay, put your hands behind your back.
I was just locking my phone.
You're under arrest for obstruction of evidence right now.
The crazy part is, the police didn't even have a warrant, so Sheldon locking his phone was 100% legal. But the police arrested him anyways because that's literally how serious the police take obstruction crimes here.
You know how hard it is to get into an iPhone that is locked? Very, very difficult. I had a case where we were going to give a phone to an expert to do this. And he goes, well, I can put it on my machine and it might take 6 to 8 months. And, and then you charge it per hour on a machine. It's like, no, thanks. No, thanks.
They do not mess around when it comes to obstruction. So now, just imagine how angry the police are gonna be when I go into the police station and tell them that someone is actually, for real this time, committing an obstruction crime. And this obstruction crime is on a much bigger scale. Later, the police called me saying that they were gonna do a police investigation on this.
Hey, Benjamin, this is Officer Halpern from Provo Police.
I told the detective the entire situation. He was saying that this family's Lego sets were never even in the store, like all of this stuff, and it's all documented. I have video of all of him saying this. I think he's like falsifying evidence, and I think that's obstruction. And now that we stole Bricks and Minifigs' strategy, I think the plan is finally gonna work. Looks like the CEO is going down. I mean, I submitted the videos of Eamon saying we're gonna burn down the building.
The problem that you have is, you know, you look biased because, and you look like you don't really give a shit about you know, the original mission, because the original mission was to get the Legos back. It looks more like you're in a battle with the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs, and you just want to fuck him over, and so that bias bleeds into your credibility.
The building and shoot him.
They themselves say, hey, you guys stole this product from this person. If you don't give it back, I'm going to burn the place down. Or we're going to burn the place down. Or I'll kill you.
And then I submitted all the raw footage of the entire conversation I had with him, proving to the police that we never even said anything close to this.
And you think he's going to look at any of that shit? Probably not. One of the things cops hate to do is work. I'm sorry. They just, if it seems too complicated, I had a cop tell me this. He was my former father-in-law. He says, you know, they transferred me to the white collar division, and I don't know. I'd rather just go chase the guy that's running, because that's how he knows. He goes, when I deal with a car dealer or somebody that's outward lying to me, and then the other party's lying to me, I just can't tell who's telling the fucking truth. But if the guy's running away from the crime scene, I know that's the guy I gotta chase. That's what he told me. No lie.
This raw footage verifies that everything I told the police is true, and everything Eamon told the police is a lie. On top of that, I even got access to the complete case Eamon made against me, and he doesn't have a single piece of evidence to support any of his claims. Which I guess makes sense. Like, how can you support evidence if you're just making everything up? Like, of course you can't submit anything. So
what I don't understand is, why didn't you go talk to the prior owner? You know, let's get a statement from her. What does she have to say? Maybe later on in this video he does, but I would like to hear from the prior owner. And
in the previous videos they had talked.
Well, see, that's a little foreshadowing then.
Yeah.
So if the police have to decide what case to pursue, they're obviously going to pursue this case because it has like a ton of evidence. And then they're going to throw out Eamon's case that has no evidence at all.
Not true.
The person you're trying to...
They're going to go through with the one that they can conceptualize, the one that they think is simpler. Watch.
...to reach is not available.
Hello, my name is Ben Schneider. A couple months ago, I made a case, and you were the officer that was helping me create it. I submitted a bunch of evidence through a link you sent me, and this was a couple months ago, and I haven't heard anything back. And so I'm just calling to see if I could get some type of update on how the case is going. It's about the CEO, Eamon McNeff of Bricks and Minifigs, in an obstruction case. And so if you could give me a call back at your earliest convenience, that'd be awesome.
We're sorry, your call cannot be completed.
Yeah, literally no matter what I tried, I could not get a hold of this police officer. So I'm traveling all the way back to Utah to go back to the Provo police station in person to see how the police investigation against
That's the other thing. If the cops aren't interested, they will not return your fucking phone call. Because what are they going to do? Lose business? I mean, they're not in the business of pleasing customers.
Eamon is going. And I just so happened to get a hold of the police schedule and arrived at the exact time this officer was supposed to arrive. But before I could speak to this officer, one of the other police officers called into the front desk and asked to talk to me.
I'm not seeing him on duty right now.
Really? They said he was going to be here today at 3 o'clock.
There's always the chance that they might have called out sick or something.
Is there any way that you can like check if he's here, or?
We call that the big old stiff arm. Or the Heisman.
He's definitely scheduled to be here. Like I said, they might have called out sick or something.
Are you able to look and see how the case is going? All I really want is kind of just an update on the case.
That's not something that I can tell you over the phone.
Okay, you can't even just tell me like how it's going, like if he's still.
But I'm not on the phone. I'm in your fucking lobby.
Looking into it, or?
No, I can't. That's not something I can do.
Okay, well, thank you.
So basically, I came all the way out here to find 0 answers, but eventually I did find an answer. They sent it to me in the mail, And looks like I was right. The police only had time to take on one of our cases. And it was Ammon's, not mine. Yes, the case that had an overwhelming amount of evidence, they thought that case was garbage. And they took on the case that has zero evidence at all. In the police body cam footage, after the police watched my full conversation, proving that I didn't threaten to burn the place down or literally anything, they even admitted to Eamon that there was no credibility with his entire case against me.
We agreed that there really was no extortion code that would fit your situation. However, you know, at the end of the day, we do want to help you guys so you're not having to deal with this fool and all of his issues. We did find that there was another code that fit, and it's called aggravated commercial obstruction.
The police just told Eamon that even though there's absolutely nothing to his claim against me, if they work together, maybe they can fabricate some type of charge against me.
However, the tricky thing is that we have to prove that this individual either entered or remains unlawfully on the premise. When he came to the property, did you have to ask him more than once to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, we're not leaving until we get it. And he's like, no. Like,
so Eamon's telling the police that even though they continuously told us to leave, we didn't leave. But if we go back and look at the footage of what happened, this is the reality.
So when they say go to corporate, how do we respond next time?
I have no idea. You have to take it up with them. It's your...
So this is a good point, and this is why I'm glad, not glad he got charged, but I'm glad he documented everything, because it's pretty darn clear that none of this fits any kind of crime. He's maybe harassing them, maybe, but I mean, to harass somebody, you have to affect their safety, security, or privacy, and they haven't done that here.
Thing with them, that doesn't involve us. Okay. As a separate business entity, you got to take it up with them. You got to resolve it with them.
Okay, well, thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, thank you guys. Good
luck. You're good. Sweet, thank you.
Hey, do you want to talk to them? They're on their way out. Do you want me to grab them or no?
I don't know. It kind of looks like the reality of what happened is we left too early for them. They wanted to pull us back in to keep talking to us. But we did show back up a second time, and to Ammon's credit, about halfway through the conversation, he did say that if we don't leave, he's going to call the cops on us.
You can leave. If you come back here, we will call the cops. If you don't leave right now, I will call the cops.
So you don't want to do the easy way?
And this is right after I told him you could do it either the easy way and just give us the Legos back, or we can do it the hard way.
And that's loaded language, you know, that can be taken a number of ways.
Implying that we would take him to court.
So you're threatening me.
I'm not threatening. We're right. Like, we have a right to the Legos, so we're gonna get them the easy way or the hard way.
What proof of ownership have you provided to me that you own this Lego?
I mean, I can give you proof if you want.
Right. Provide proof.
But right after he says this, he's now asking.
So he's asking for documents. So he's inviting activity.
Asking us to provide him proof that we actually are entitled to these Legos, so we can't leave now because he just told us to stay and provide proof. And then at the very end of the conversation, he says this one more time.
Okay, you've been asked to leave. Please leave.
We have to leave?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for working with us, and so see you later.
That's not interfering with his business at all. Give me a break.
Well, we have now all just seen the video footage of what actually happened. But now let's hear how Ammon describes it to the police.
guys, at this point, I've asked you to leave. Please leave. Well, we you know, like, you have to listen to us. You have to pay us this money. No, guys, you need to leave, and you're not leaving. Like, but I asked multiple times, they did not leave.
Looks like that might be a second-degree felony. He's facing felony charges. It is a felony?
Yes, because I went to the corporate headquarters and tried to give Ammon the easy way out of all of this, they're now trying to get me on a second-degree felony, which I don't really know how any of this would make me get a second-degree felony. Like, what the heck, police officers? But they're doing it, and the punishment for this crime is 15 years in jail.
Okay, it isn't 15 years in jail. That might be the statutory maximum, but nobody ever gets a statutory maximum. He doesn't have any prior cases, and there's not even enough evidence here to probably even go past a preliminary hearing.
I don't know, like however else, like some of that stuff comes through, but like the reality is, like,
We've tried to talk with him and said, we're willing to work with you.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons the police keep taking Ammon's side instead of ours, besides the whole Mormon thing, is that Ammon keeps framing the situation as he's just the helpful CEO who's trying to do the right thing and return Brian's property. And we're the ones that are preventing him from giving it back to Brian. So I say we rewatch the footage and see what actually happened.
We said we would be more than happy to help Mr. Mansell.
Yeah, because Brian said
he was unwilling to work with us.
Well, Brian said he asked for the store inventory, and that because he said like he wanted to work with you, and then you guys didn't provide the store inventory.
We asked him to provide us with any.
So these statements of this Ammon are really helpful in the sense that if there's a civil suit between the parties, it's a statement of a party opponent that comes in no matter what. And if this guy would have to testify at a criminal proceeding, and so it would come in as a prior inconsistent statement. So you can use this, and so that's why it's a really, really excellent thing that this is documented. However, the whole thing could have been avoided with what? A replevin motion. Just an action and replevin. Give me the shit back. And they had plenty of information to suggest that they did have it.
Documentation, and he provided us with a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is not something that anybody, you can just walk over to a McDonald's right now and say, all of your ice cream machines belong to me. Why? Because so-and-so said so. And I have a spreadsheet that says that all these ice cream machines belong to me. That's not proof of ownership. That's not proof of anything.
So first off, this spreadsheet Ammon's referring to wasn't just some mystery spreadsheet, it was the actual inventory the store made. But I guess Ammon's trying to claim that the previous owner stole the Legos and then lied on the inventory, and so now it basically makes this inventory invalid. He said that when corporate was taking over the store, that they actually did their own inventory, and this is the correct inventory.
When we took over, we did an inventory.
And good news for me, he's willing to give me this inventory. He's actually always been willing to give it to me or Brian. All we've ever had to do was ask.
We will work with you to obtain any Lego that does exist.
Well, we did that, and you guys.
When?
I think like 5 or 6 times, and we've gotten 0 response back.
Yeah, literally the first thing I did right when I heard about this entire situation was I googled Bricks and Minifigs, clicked on their website, clicked contact.
Can you believe how this is just snowballed into this just kind of whatever? And he's charged in 2 different jurisdictions.
Us and sent them a message. I actually got a message back from corporate saying that they would love to help, but after a few months, I kept trying to reply to this message, and they just completely ghosted me.
When?
I think we've done like 6 over the last 4 or 5 months.
Pull it up. Find out. Tell me when.
Let's see. I say hey.
So he's asking him questions and inviting him into the business and said, okay, tell me, let's get to the bottom of this. I mean, he's not interfering with their business at all.
I don't think this ever got resolved. I'm just reaching back out right now. And never.
Hit forward right now. Resend it.
What's the email?
That is I don't know what email address that is.
This was on your guys' website.
That says fbc.team. I said franchise at bricksandminifigs.com.
Well, this is just on the website, so.
Did I tell you to look up something on the website and send it there?
Dick.
Well,
did I say that just barely?
Big dick.
Well, that's what.
Yes or no?
Really big dick.
Did I say that?
No.
I just said send me an email to franchise at bricksandminifigs.com and we will work with that.
But you're getting mad at me because I emailed the email on the website?
You keep saying that you so I understand that, but I'm telling you right now, and you're trying to argue on something that I didn't give you any information about. I'm telling you, send it to that one.
Yeah, but you're getting upset at us that we emailed the email that was on your website.
No, I'm telling you the way to do this, and you've been probably trying to communicate with a ghost.
Well, that's your guys' fault for putting that email on the website.
Sure. Okay. Understood.
Ben, so why are you getting mad at us because we emailed the website for your instructions?
Because you continue to harass us for all sorts of things. I'm not getting mad at you.
We're not harassing.
I won't buy any Legos at Bricks and Minifigs ever again. I mean, I have this Playboy dollhouse. Or no, I'm joking. I don't fucking play with Legos.
harassing. We're just asking for our Legos back. If someone stole money from you,
I don't know that I could handle a fucking job where all I dealt with is, little figurines and minifigs. And I got my Star Trek minifigs and my Star Wars minifigs. I want my Star Wars minifigs back. Can I get my figs back?
and you went and politely asked for the money back, is that you harassing them?
It seems like Ammon kept either trying to stall or switch the subject.
At this point, I would call him a racial epithet. Whitey.
It almost seems like he doesn't want to actually give us this inventory. But he keeps saying he's willing to give it to us.
You guys can send that inventory list to us?
I do believe so, yes. I think we have sent that to Brian.
He says he said that's all he wants is the inventory list, and he'll stop bugging you guys.
Well, then, Mr. Mansell and you, and if you want to be included on the emails with Mr. Mansell, that's totally fine. You guys can email us, and we can go.
But you guys will give him the inventory list, because he said he's been asking for it for over a year now.
We can show the inventory list that was obtained when the store was originally taken over from Crystal Law, and we can work through that process and try and identify what was or wasn't there, and also.
So a critical witness here is the prior owner of the franchise.
Also try and identify how to proceed from there.
Yeah, I think
because if she took off with the money, wouldn't they have a claim against her if they took over the business? Because now all this is just, you know what I mean? You would think that they would be more up in arms about her stealing $200,000 from the franchise.
Brian gets upset because he says they always say that they'll send me the list, kind of like how you're saying, oh, we can send it easily. But then when it comes down to it, you'll never actually send it. So maybe if you actually go ahead and send it, it would make him feel better.
Well, I understand what you're trying to get at. I'm more than willing to work with you and help you. That's why I'm saying send an email to that email address that I just gave to you, and that will produce results.
Anyways,
Bam.
I sent an email to the email he...
Bam! That's Bricks and Minifigs. You just got bammed.
He told me about, not the one on their website, that's a bad email.
Well, that's exciting. You wreck your own TV. Why would you do that? Jesus. This shit just drives me nuts.
Don't ever email that one or the CEO is going to be pissed. But according to Ammon, now that I've sent this email, I should be receiving the inventory list very soon. So I waited all day. And I got no answer. So the next day I sent them another email. I patiently waited again for about a week. And finally...
This is the response. Mr. Schneider, BAM Franchising Incorporation will not participate in any form of communication that appears designed for public provocation, harassment, or manipulation of facts for the purpose of media content. Attempts to obtain privileged or
Sounds like it's coming from a lawyer.
Confidential information through misrepresentation or the creation of fraudulent documents. Just for me asking for this inventory list to prove their innocence, because I want to give them.
So you could easily get this information. How could you get this information? You could get this information with a replevin action. You could take depositions, you could file a subpoena, you could do requests for documents, interrogatories, and you could do all this stuff that's legal through the courts, and you can make them answer.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I want to be like, hey, if you're innocent, I want to...
See, just his little request, they're not obligated to even respond to him.
Prove that you're innocent with this inventory list, but now by me trying to do that, that's criminal behavior on my part. And considered harassment. And we reserve all rights to refer such behavior to appropriate legal authorities. It's AKA the cops.
I love that. That's just threatening language. You don't need to reserve your right. That right always exists no matter what happens. You don't give that right up no matter what.
So don't ask for our inventory list or else we're going to call the cops.
Yes, Bricks and Minifigs has officially banned me from ever asking for this inventory list again. And I'm not the only one who's banned from asking for this list.
He promised us a full inventory right away. We've never received it.
Yeah, and
That's what I'm talking about. I think this is the prior owner, and that's your best witness.
every time it's been just absolutely nothing. So we've never gotten anything. We've never gotten an inventory list.
Yeah.
Methinks there's some fuckery afoot. He's getting the same answer that they are. What do you suppose?
Yeah, the previous owner who got her entire store stolen from her by corporate, I mean, she's legally required to get sent an inventory list, and even she, 2 years later, has not gotten it yet.
It would have resolved everything because they would have had to identify everything in the store, and it would have identified all of Brian's stuff, and they never provided it, so we couldn't then demand the third-party evaluation.
And it's now, what, a year and a half later?
You know, who knows what.
Still no inventory.
Dang.
So, what if?
So when you deal with people in business like this, you can't deal with them directly. You have to have the court make them do stuff. That's why you file an action against them in court, and not conciliation court or small claims court. You go to district court, and then you make sure that you file your motions. And then if they don't do anything, then you file a motion to compel. Oh, guess what? You get attorney's fees, you get cost fees and disbursements, and then if they don't do it, then they get defaulted. They get defaulted, you get a judgment of $200,000 plus. See you later, alligator. See how that works?
Would have solved a lot of problems a year and a half ago to go, here's the inventory.
And even Brian still hasn't received this inventory list yet.
I've never received an inventory list. I've never received a record of sales because they can't provide it. They opened the store up almost right away and started selling it.
And the worst part about all of this is it seems like the CEO is pretty much just trying to rub all of this in everyone's face. When I turned on the news, I saw this.
Now, as far as offering Brian the inventory, have you gone through the store, figured out what was part of his collection, taken inventory and shown him that inventory to offer that?
We've tried to share those with Mr. Mansell in hopes that he can see.
So one of the worst things you can do when you have pending litigation is talk about the pending litigation. This statement right here, we've tried to show, okay, what are your efforts? Show me what your efforts were. Well, we called him several times and he didn't answer the phone. Did you send him an email? No, I didn't really do that. Did you mail him a document? No, I didn't really do that either. Well, what did you do? I mean, you caught him in a lie.
See, like that we were not attempting in any way, shape, or form to withhold anything. Those then were offered to him, and the initial offer was rejected.
So now on public television,
the initial offer was rejected. There was no offer.
Ammon, the CEO, is telling the world that he tried to give us this inventory, but we're the ones that didn't want it.
We do want to help him recover as much of the collection. Our number one priority right now is to ensure that he gets made whole. We know that we have a responsibility to...
This is damning. I mean, if you had a pending action against this motherfucker, pardon my French. Oh, shit, I'm sorry. If you're a child watching this, that's how you were born. Somebody fucked a mother. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, but that statement right there is so damning. It's an admission of guilt.
To work with him to make sure he does get made whole.
So you've offered Brian the inventory of sets that was in the store.
Yeah, whatever was left over, we've offered that on multiple occasions. So we've tried to make multiple offers, and hopefully we'll be able to get them to the table so we can discuss it.
And this is pretty much Ammon's game plan now. Go on as many news stations as you can and lie.
And this is so dumb on his part, because all these things can be used in civil litigation later, or criminal for that matter.
The entire time we were saying, hey, we want to help, we want to help.
The main narrative now seems to be Bricks and Minifigs has always been trying to give Brian his Legos back, but Brian just never wanted them back.
Would you be willing to just take this? And the answer was no. It was attempted to be given to the family, and it was refused. They made the offer and said, hey, you can have it.
He told them that they didn't have anything, that it was stolen by somebody else. And now he's saying, we attempted to give them back. Were you lying then, or were you lying now? You know, and that's why it's really dangerous when you go on TV to try to bolster your image.
Have all this, and that offer was not accepted at the time.
Well, that's Ammon's side of the story, but I say let's take a look at what actually happened.
Read from the bottom up. That is our correspondence with Bricks and Minifigs, trying to work with them in getting the sets back.
So right when this happened, Brian hired an attorney to reach out to Bricks and Minifigs. They sent an email saying, how should we proceed to retake the possession of the sets/minifigures? And they actually emailed back saying they were willing to help. And then after this, they just never respond. So Brian's attorney sent them another email, just following up on this, when can we pick up the sets? And they still didn't respond. So the attorneys emailed back saying, it's now been 16 days, how can we get these Legos back? And finally, they received a response.
It says Brandon Best and Joshua Johnson have no legal obligation to return any of the Lego product that exists in their store to you. What? So yeah, basically they're saying that they're the ones they're not.
And that's all in writing. That's all in writing. So we attempted to return things that were his, or we didn't attempt to return things that were his.
Not able to work with you is what it seems like.
Exactly.
They finished this email saying, we consider this matter closed and will not be returning any Lego products to you. So as you can see, that's the reality of what actually happened. But then Ammon goes on Fox News and says this.
So they actually did have an attorney send information to us. We said, great, appreciate this. Let's see what we can do to work this out.
Yeah.
And then we never heard back.
So why is Ammon going on like Fox News then and saying, we wanted to give Brian his stuff back. He's the one that didn't want his stuff back. He didn't want any of his things.
That's my point. I don't know.
Would you do business with a guy like this? You know, the thing about it is I'm on TV a lot. Not a lot anymore, but I used to be. And, you know, we're only as good as our word, right? So if I screwed over my clients constantly, it would get around, you know, and then who'd want to do business with me? You know, eventually you just run out of places to go. Going on TV and showing what a shitbag you are, I mean, it's just not smart. If I was their lawyer, I'd say, stay off the fucking TV. Just don't answer anything.
He's lying.
I truly do believe in integrity. Truly, I believe in the sentiment of integrity, and I believe everyone should have integrity.
Not with a mustache like that.
But anyways, another thing the CEO seems to be pretty upset about is that when Brian kept demanding his stuff back and couldn't get it back, eventually he had enough. And he was like, I'm going to make a Facebook post about this. And in his Facebook post, he called Bricks and Minifigs thieves and liars. And this Facebook post, like, really pissed off Ammon. I mean, Bricks and Minifigs is literally suing Brian now for millions of dollars, all because of this. I mean, back when I was talking to him at corporate headquarters, he made it very clear that what they did is technically not actually considered theft.
There is no theft. Do you understand the legal definition of theft? Legally have to be
So
the definition of knowing that the property was stolen or otherwise not belonging to that person.
And on my phone,
that was not known until Mr. Mansell came in days later and said, I have some of these things that need to be...
And that's another lie again, because...
It is not another lie.
So I showed Ammon the security camera footage where corporate acknowledges that they are now going to be responsible for these Lego Star Wars sets.
These are ones that he has not been paid his percentage yet. And if I don't have the tickets, I won't know how much I need to pay him.
That's a business thing and not necessarily yours. He's taking on the business, he takes on all that consignment liability.
And after showing him this footage to try to bring the conversation back to reality, this was his response.
Now extortion?
Because we caught you guys?
No, because...
Now it's extortion because you showed me evidence that doesn't favor my side?
Because you are attempting to extort us, so... That's what you're doing. What you are doing right now is illegal. It's an extortion.
So catching you guys in illegal activity, that's illegal on me.
Nope. We have done nothing.
See, I agree too. I agree. Nope, it's not illegal on us. Thank you for...
We have done nothing illegal, and you are doing something illegal right now.
I don't think that's illegal. I think us catching you guys for doing the illegal thing.
Remember, when you point your finger at somebody, you got 3 more pointed back at you. That's what my grandma used to say. That's in my basement.
Doesn't make that what we're doing is illegal. That means what you guys are doing is illegal.
Okay, you've been asked to leave. Please leave.
We have to leave?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for working with us. And
After just going around in circles for probably 30 to 40 minutes and just, you know, having like kind of less than genuine questions.
I would hate an office where I've got all these little figurines. I mean, the playthings. Okay, what am I play? Can I have my Cabbage Patch doll and my Star Wars figurines? Can I have my figurines? I just want to play with my figurines. Thank you.
Or less than genuine responses being given to me, I was exasperated by the end of it. And that's, like when people get tired and exasperated, that's when we finally got the footage that we can use to make him look like a completely unreasonable monster, but that's what they do is people whose goal is to.
I hate it when you use my own words against me.
Do those types of things. They just harass and go after people as long and hard as they can until somebody breaks and says something that, then they can, use that one clip to be like, oh, look at this horrible monster of a person. So that's that.
In all fairness, I think he put everything into context. I mean, he played everything, the whole interaction. So he wasn't just looking for a soundbite.
That's what I feel like is.
And guess what? If he would have just given the Legos back, there'd be no YouTube. There would be no nothing. It's like, okay, well, we did this. Now what? Now we got nothing to talk about.
Kind of really happened here.
So Ammon's claiming that I just harassed him for 30 minutes and finally he got fed up with us, which that was the one clip at the end that I used in my documentary. So I say let's go to the very beginning of the footage, my first interaction with them, and see what actually happened.
So what's going on?
So you guys are holding some of our Legos?
No, we're not.
You're not?
No.
Yeah, literally from the very first sentence we ever exchanged with each other, Ammon's goal was just to lie to us. But anyways, I'm now starting to think that the only reason Ammon wanted us to email him about the inventory list wasn't actually give us the inventory list, but actually, it was a trap. Yeah, Ammon only wanted me to email him so he can find out my email and subpoena Google and find out all of my private information. And you think I'm lying, but they actually did this. They subpoenaed Google asking for all private information tied to this email address. And Google sent them like hundreds of hours of all the raw footage from everything I've filmed in the Lego video so far, all my emails, all my search history, all of the metadata that shows everywhere I've been. But anyways, this was the reaction of the police officer after she watched my entire first episode.
I'm really curious to see if this fool even makes any money doing this YouTube stuff. I'm like, if it's enough for him to travel to another state to go get some footage.
So they've clearly taken a side, right, of this fool. It's something to have a 2-year education. When you look at this subpoena, and I don't know the context under which the subpoena was issued, but if I found out that, somebody subpoenaed all my personal emails, that's overly broad. And I mean, what does anything I have to do with my sister, my brother, my taxes, my car, my business? I mean, what does that have to do with anything that I'm sure maybe anything related to this case, but and Google doesn't just hand those out willy-nilly either. It's difficult to get stuff from Google.
It doesn't even sound like his secret information doesn't even seem credible from my understanding.
No, so it sounds like you were able to watch the video.
I think by secret information, the police officer is referring to the security camera footage that proves that everything Bricks and Minifigs is saying is a lie. My first question is, how could this not be credible? It's literally just video evidence of what happened that night.
What are you going to believe, me or your lying eyes?
But at least now I can see why the police aren't listening to me. They're basically just saying that all of the evidence I submit to them is not credible and therefore case closed. Ben's wrong and we're right because we...
Discretion is 9/10 of the law. So if the cops don't want to investigate something, they won't. And if they don't, you're fucked.
We said that the evidence is uncredible. At this point, Bricks and Minifigs is working with the police to just come up with whatever story they can to make any evidence I give them seem as uncredible as possible.
In all of his actions to just generate clicks and likes to get, social media clout without putting in work and just doing the crummy stuff.
Interesting.
He seems like a fun gentleman.
No. Well, and,
His MO really seems to follow somebody who's like a paper tiger, right? Like who, like behind, you know, or like a keyboard warrior. They'll make threats.
And this is the craziest part of the video to me. Ammon's claiming that I'm a keyboard warrior. And a keyboard warrior is basically just someone who talks a lot of smack online, but then when it actually comes down to it, they won't do anything in person.
That's me. That's me. I just talk a lot of shit online. I sit behind my computer. Oh, I'm a tough guy. You know those guys. It's not me. Trust me. That ain't me. Always packing, never lacking.
Which, I mean, if we look back at the footage, I accomplished almost everything I set out to do. I didn't get scared of anything. If someone in this story is a keyboard warrior, I don't think it's me. I think it's Bricks and...
But all this shit that he did, all this, you know, putting the sign up and trying to close them down and all this stuff, all of that was unnecessary. Go back to the very beginning, file a replevin action, take some depots. You've got all kinds of other stuff, evidence to support your cause. You would have had that stuff back in, or the money for it in relatively short time.
Minifigs. I mean, let's double check by looking at the footage. Ammon claims with his words that he can give us the inventory list.
We can show the inventory list.
But when it actually comes down to it, he's terrified to give it to anyone. Bricks and Minifigs this entire time has also just been begging me to sue them.
If you think it's illegal, why don't you sue me? Let's go to court. Sue me for us. Sue me. Let's go to court. Let's go to court then.
So when I finally go out and actually sue them, they close down their store. And now Bricks and Minifigs.
But showing up in your fucking underwear, who's going to take you seriously? That's the biggest flaw I see here. I think he's got noble intentions. I think he wants to blow it up for his YouTube channel, which is fine. But you kind of are young and inflammatory and showing up in your underpants.
Figs is going to absolute extreme lengths to hide from this lawsuit.
Are you okay if she just gives you the papers so we can just...
No, I'm not accepting service from her. Okay. Absolutely not.
You can't refuse service. So if you're home, all you got to do is set him on your doorstep. And I left him with a person of reasonable age and discretion. Could even leave him with like a 15-year-old child. You don't have to be home. If somebody else is home, like your wife is home, oh, I got all papers for Mr. Bald Guy. Then you just give them papers and you're served.
I mean, Bricks and Minifigs is showing all of the signs of a keyboard warrior, but for some reason they think that I'm the keyboard warrior. At this point, it almost seems like everything Bricks and Minifigs is doing, for some reason they think that I'm the one that's the one doing it.
I'll keep my fingers crossed for you guys. Hoping no more issues. There's so many other things that this guy could like be talking about, right?
No, 100%.
Yeah, but he's making money out of this. I mean, he's got tens of millions of views, right? The problem that I have, you know, there's two different types of cops. There's cops that take information in and give information back. And then there's cops who have an agenda. You know, the best cops, honestly, are the ones that don't try to shade things. Don't try to, you know, I had one cop in a murder case, and I just can't believe he said that a switch, because my guy was shooting at a guy that had a switch, you know, that's the thing that makes a semi-automatic handgun automatic, that it wasn't more dangerous than a regular firearm. And I'm like, what? You know, and it just made everything else he said so not believable. It's because when you take a side, you know, some cops have the notion that you can't agree with what a defense lawyer is saying no matter what. And other cops who are decent cops just give the facts of the case and don't try to shade it. The evidence is what it is. I didn't create the evidence. The evidence is right there.
But sometimes, you know, like it's a sunk cost fallacy. They just think, oh, I put so much time and effort into this. I gotta make sure something happens. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, Ammon just completely proved my point. Obviously, I'm not suffering from the sunk cost fallacy at all. Ammon's the one suffering from the sunk cost fallacy. I mean, they literally already admitted to me that they've held onto the Legos for so long, it's not worth it for them to give it back to us anymore.
I'm not going to distribute those things at this point. We've kept them on hold for this long, so.
Let's see what else Bricks and Minifigs is accusing me of.
Wait a second, didn't he say he didn't have them at all?
Well, they're suing me for defamation. But this entire time, Bricks and Minifigs is actually the ones defaming me.
What is the number one defense to defamation? Truth. If the things that you're saying are true, there's no defamation.
They themselves say, hey, you guys stole this product from this person. If you don't give it back, I'm gonna burn the place down.
Let's go to the next thing Bricks and Minifigs is accusing me of. Extortion, when they're the ones actually extorting me by saying if I don't let them steal the Legos from us, they're gonna make up a reason to throw me in jail.
You stole them, bitch.
I stole the Legos?
Yeah, you're a fucking thief.
Dang. Okay.
You can shut the fuck up. That's your fucking choice.
Bricks and Minifigs is also getting me for RICO charges.
So that's not extortion, that's coercion.
They're charging Reckless Ben for RICO. I think it is more likely that the police are guilty of RICO, right?
And if you look at the CEO's previous businesses, he actually got sued for RICO. He's the one guilty of RICO, not me. They're also accusing me of sending a sniper to shoot out the windows of the McNeff house.
You guys want to come to, you can see the window and see where they were shooting from. It could be a sniper light on the hill.
When the police got there, they realized it was actually a construction worker who accidentally shattered the window.
It seems more likely that it happened from construction work than it happened from some random people across the way.
But even after all this, they still go online and say it was me.
He's trying to get Ben Schneider for like attempted murder. He's basically trying to set Ben Schneider up for attempted murder when meanwhile it was a nail from his own construction worker.
So what's the moral of the story here? It looks like everything bad Bricks and Minifigs is doing, they think that I'm the one that's doing the bad thing. It makes no sense.
So I just let you know.
It's almost as bad as my audio. So that was on the recording. Oh, by the way, speaking of that, we had a bad mic, and so I think we fixed it now.
You know, we call it double blind. The person who committed the crime may or may not be in the lineup or depicted. So I will give this to you. You'll have as much time as you need to choose someone or to not choose anyone. Whenever you're able to feel that you have ID'd somebody, I just ask that you circle it and then initial next to it.
And then, like that?
Perfect.
Okay. There you go.
Okay. Cool.
Really, this was like the final step that I needed. This is legit. We've been able to verify who he is now.
Yep.
So the police put on this big performance to make it look like they're going to all this work to verify the facts. When in reality, they already know who I am. They already subpoenaed Google. They already watched my entire first Lego video. They already went through all my search history. To me, this just feels like a staged performance so they can show the world, hey, look, we verified everything when...
Don't go through my search history. We don't want to see that.
And if they would have just put an equal amount of effort into watching the raw footage I submitted to them, they would have found out that Ammon's just completely lying to them, but for some reason they didn't. A few weeks later, when I ended up going to court, this was the state's response.
My name is Nick Mielstein. I'm the prosecutor. Is Benjamin Schneider here?
Yes.
If you want to take care of that today, we could do what we call a plea in abeyance.
Were you able to see the footage?
A plea in abeyance. That means you enter a plea, but there's no, it's like a stay of adjudication. You don't adjudicate guilt so that you don't get anything on your record and probably don't go to jail.
Submitted to the police of our interaction.
Here's the other thing. I got 10 cases or 40 cases on today. I'm not going to fucking listen to this. You either take my offer or we set it for trial.
I have not watched it, no.
Okay, because in that footage, you can clearly see that the second he tells us to leave, where you say, okay.
This probably would piss the prosecutor off, knowing that he was recorded.
Okay, we'll leave. And then he calls the police and said that we threatened to burn down the building and shoot everyone inside. And he was just making up all these lies, which you can clearly see in the footage that we submitted. We were being respectful the whole time. We left the second he told us to.
Sorry, let me look.
And so it makes sense why the police would take me to court because, I mean, he's threatening that we're going to burn down the building and shoot everyone, but we did nothing. Like, he's just saying that because he's trying to. I'm a documentary maker, so I'm making a documentary on the thing. So his logic is if he throws me in jail, then if he makes up a reason for me to go to jail, then I won't be able to expose them for their crimes. So that's the what's going on. It's clear as day in the footage if you watch it.
God, he looks an awful lot. It looks an awful lot like a Lego figure.
It seems like they're just making up a bunch of false information in order to silence criticism.
So did you submit that to the police officer?
Yes.
And I bet the police officer didn't give it to the prosecutor.
Is the footage going such that it's still going like when you step out the door?
It starts from when we're in the elevator before we talk to him to when we were back in the elevator going back down.
Obviously, a video doesn't necessarily show everything that possibly happened.
So according to the state of Utah, the raw video that shows everything that possibly could have happened is not credible and cannot have shown everything that possibly could have happened. And they didn't even watch it. They're literally just taking Ammon's word for everything and completely ignoring all the evidence.
So what do? You just set the fucker for trial. I mean, do you know how many times I've had cases like that where I've got evidence and the prosecutor says, well, I disagree. In fact, I had a victim recant and say it didn't happen and here's why it didn't happen. And we still went forward with trial. And we won. Obviously we won because the person recanted. And then my client testified and it was just clear that, but they still went forward. Prosecutors have an obligation, an ethical obligation to not go forward with cases they don't think they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. The evidence of going into the elevator, going up to talk to him, leaving when he said, there's no evidence that he was there beyond that, right?
So where does this leave me now? Not only am I being charged with a bunch of mystery crimes in American Fork, Utah, but I'm also being charged with a second-degree felony up to 15 years in jail in Provo, Utah. And now that they have written proof that I'm committing all of these insane crimes against them, I mean, obviously Bricks and Minifigs just made up everything, but that's not how the court sees it. The court thinks that these are real. And for whatever reason, the court wouldn't let me share my side. They only heard Bricks and Minifigs' side.
So when you get to a jury, before, like, let's say you try your case, you get all this evidence in, and then you get to let's back up. You can have a hearing. It's called a Florence hearing in Minnesota, but it's a probable cause hearing. And sometimes probably in Utah, it's probably a preliminary hearing. You could have put on your evidence at that hearing, and then you can show judge what they're saying isn't true. And they do take that information in a light most favorable to the prosecutor. Okay. So because you're the one filing the motion to dismiss. So whenever a party files a motion, the court takes it in light most favorable to the other party because you have the burden to prove it, right? But let's say you go through a trial, the judge says, okay, well, there's enough probable cause here. That's all they need is probable cause, slightly more true than not true to get to a jury. And let's say you go to the jury and just before the jury, after the judge hears everything, now they have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. And if you show them this evidence, and you can file what's called a motion for judgment of acquittal and say, judge, this shouldn't go to the jury. And the reason it shouldn't go to the jury is because it's so clear that there's no reasonable jury that could find me guilty based on this evidence. And then the judge can, and sometimes they do. I've had that happen, but not very often, maybe just half a dozen times in 30 years. But they can do that.
Ben's side was not in the room, was not heard. The court signed an order erasing his published work on the strength of the company's verified complaint and the company's motion with no one there to say a word against it.
Yeah, the judge granted a temporary restraining order, preventing me from even talking about Bricks and Minifigs, which sucks because this was the night I hit 1 million subscribers, and all my friends threw a giant surprise party for me.
Nice girl with a box on her head.
Yeah, Bricks and Minifigs gets to just keep spreading their lies about me, and I just have to sit in silence, and
doesn't seem like he's too silent, does it?
There's nothing I can do to stop them. It's crazy to think about how much public support I was getting.
$200,000 Lego dispute that's turning into one of the craziest legal cases and an internet crusade that is just exploding.
A $200,000 Lego collection. This $200,000 Lego scandal is literally one of the craziest things I've ever seen.
I think this might be the best video that I've seen. This is one of the crazier stories I think I've ever covered.
Where's me? I mean, he didn't put me in there.
By Mormons. Reckless Ben.
It really seemed like the entire internet was uniting to stand up to this bully of a company.
Bricks and Minifigs can stuff it.
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. Brick by brick.
It really did seem like we were right about to get the Legos back, but I was wrong. Now the court has silenced me, and it looks like all the work I put into this was just for nothing. However, people were pretty upset that I was silenced and decided to protest. It sucks that I'm not even allowed to be a part of this movement anymore.
Look at the pity party. She'll throw it for himself.
Or maybe I can be here. I just have to be in disguise so no one recognizes me.
No.
All right, I'm here with, what was your name?
I'm Jerome. Just here to support the cause. Just an American Fork local. Just here to support.
Here with Jerome.
I spent the rest of the day protesting for the cause, and not a single person here recognized who I actually am. And maybe the protesting worked, because after a full month of remaining silent, I finally have an announcement.
Well, it looks like I don't need this disguise anymore, because I have my freedom of speech back, baby. I can say whatever I want. I can say...
Okay, I would not be sitting up there. That gives me anxiety just looking at it.
Say Bricks and Minifigs sucks. I can say Bricks and Minifigs still should hold people. And look, I just said it. I'm not in jail, which is sick. We got our First Amendment rights back. Yeah.
And now that I have my freedom of speech back, everyone is wondering how Bricks and Minifigs can make up for the fact that they made up all these lies about me to take away my freedom of speech. Most legal experts are saying I could easily win millions of dollars from Bricks and Minifigs, but instead, I have a better solution.
If they want to apologize,
All right, so there we are. I mean, so he's now fighting this stuff, right? And you get to your initial hearing, the judge is not going to let you present evidence at your initial hearing. Do you remember my cousin Vinny when he's trying to tell the judge at the arraignment, Judge, this is just a whole misunderstanding. All I want to hear out of your mouth is either guilty or not guilty. So, but you see, Judge, this is a misunderstanding. I don't think we have a meeting of the minds here. All I want to hear out of your mouth is either guilty or not guilty. If I hear anything else, I am going to hold you in contempt of court. I think I get the point. You are now in contempt. You remember that whole thing? Well, that's because you don't show your evidence at that kind of hearing. That's what that's all about. So you get to the preliminary hearing. You can put on evidence at a preliminary hearing. You can challenge the cop at the preliminary hearing. You can cross-examine the cop with the videos that you have. You can call witnesses at the preliminary hearing. David's going to have a preliminary hearing. They said it's going to take 5 days. Bullshit. I don't think it's going to happen at all. I think they're going to ultimately waive that hearing. But you can, and that's where you try to get this thing thrown out. And I think a judge would throw this out when he sees the actual evidence. But you've got so many antics, so much other shit clouding, what you're really there for, right? And that's what's causing him so much consternation. Anyway, so we'll continue to follow General Ben, not Uncle Ben, Reckless Ben. There, I knew there was a Ben in there somewhere. I'm joking. So Uncle Robert just really gave it's my creepy name for Robert. Robert just made a good point, is that if there are constitutional violations, there is a, generally speaking, you can't sue the police unless there's a really egregious violation of your constitutional rights. They clearly have information that exonerates General Ben or Reckless Ben. They clearly have information exonerating him. They have ignored that information, and they've pursued what I believe to be a malicious prosecution. If it's a malicious prosecution, you can sue it under Section 1983 of the U.S. Code. And if you do that, you can get major damages. And especially with how they're dragging him through the mud and making him go through a criminal process that they knew or should have known is not legitimate. All right, so we'll keep following Ben Schneider and his reckless disregard for his own well-being. And I would love to be a part of this legal team. It'd be fun to do that. I mean, I'm not going to because it's out in Utah. I'm not licensed in Utah. I have talked to his people a little bit. It's really difficult to watch him pursue things in the way that they're doing this. If he would have just done a replevin action at the very beginning, and they would have to basically, and with the evidence that they had, I don't know how they wouldn't have gotten a judgment against Bricks and Minifigs. I just don't know. So we'll see you next time here at Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Thank you for sticking around. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, Facebook, go to clrbrucerivers.com for all, we don't sell firearms, but for all your merch needs. These are just for my own personal safety because Nick and Robert are very dangerous folks. We'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is at my